Welcome to Dr. Creepy Show. So tonight, we're going to jump right into unveiling the infamous case of the Cecil Hotel, specifically surrounding Lisa Lam. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a small click for you, but for us, it really means a lot. No, let's do a deep dive into the Lisa Lam case at the infamous Cecil Hotel. So the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles is a place that's been wrapped in mystery and dark tales for years. One of the most puzzling stories linked to this infamous hotel is the strange disappearance and death of Lisa Lam. In this video, we're going to unravel the details of the Lisa Lam case, looking at what happened before her tragic end and the investigations that have kept people hooked. The Cecil Hotel's dark history. The world of the Cecil Hotel in downtown LA. This place has been a hotbed of mystery and drama since it first opened its doors back in the 1920s. It's got a pretty dark past filled with crime and tragedy, making it one of the most notorious spots in the city. Originally, the Cecil was meant to be this swanky spot for business folks and tourists, but then the Great Depression hit and the area around the hotel turned into a haven for crime and homelessness. Cecil couldn't escape this change. And over time, the Cecil has seen its fair share of suicides, murders, and deaths that just can't be explained. The first suicide happened in 1931, and it set a pretty grim tone for the years to come. By the 60s, people were even calling it the suicide because of the high number of people taking their own lives there. At the Cecil's creepy past doesn't stop at suicides. It's also been a temporary pad for some pretty infamous serial killers. Richard Ramirez, a.k.a. the Night Stalker, was living at the Cecil during his murder spree in the 80s. And then there was Jack Unterweger, another serial killer who stayed at the hotel in 91 while he was off committing his own set of murders. One of the most bone-chilling events at the Cecil was the mysterious death of Lisa Lam in 2013, which we'll get into in a moment. This 21-year-old student from Canada was found dead in a water tank on the hotel's roof weeks after she went missing. No one really knows what happened to her, which just adds to Cecil's eerie reputation. Even though they've tried to rebrand and renovate, the Cecil can't seem to shake its dark history. It's like a magnet for all things creepy, drawing in thrill seekers and ghost hunters from all over the world. So the Lisa Lam case at the Cecil Hotel has been a hot topic because of its creepy circumstances and the hotel's notorious reputation. We're going to try and shed some light on what happened around her disappearance, the shocking discovery of her body, and all the theories that have popped up trying to explain this baffling case. Now, let's get into the details. 1. The disappearance. On January 31, 2013, Lisa Lam, a 21-year-old student from Canada, checked into the Cecil Hotel. A few days later, she was gone, leaving her stuff behind. The hotel's CCTV cams caught her acting weird in the elevator, which just added to the mystery. This footage went viral and got everyone talking about the case. 2. The discovery. After Lam disappeared, people staying at the Cecil started complaining about low water pressure and weird tasting tap water. When maintenance workers checked it out, they found Lam's body in one of the rooftop water tanks. This raised a lot of questions because getting into the tank and closing it would have been really hard. 3. The investigation. The police did a thorough investigation into Lam's death, looking at the hotel's security footage, talking to witnesses, and doing forensic tests. The autopsy report said her death was an accident caused by drowning, but a lot of people weren't convinced by this, leading to a bunch of conspiracy theories. 4. Conspiracy theories. The Lisa Lam case has sparked a ton of conspiracy theories, from supernatural stuff to claims of foul play. Some people think the hotel's dark past, with its links to serial killers and suicides, had something to do with Lam's death. Others think her strange behavior in the elevator was due to mental illness or drugs, and some even suggest the hotel staff or someone else was involved. Casual review of the Cecil Hotel in today's media, making headlines for years, and it's not slowing down. The hotel in recent media. The Cecil Hotel has been the subject of numerous documentaries, news stories, and even inspired a season of the hit show American Horror Story. Its dark history and the unsolved mysteries associated with it have made it a fascinating subject for storytellers. Netflix's recent docu-series Crime Scene. The vanishing at the Cecil Hotel brought the hotel back into the spotlight. The series dives into the hotel's past, the circumstances surrounding Lamb's death, and the various conspiracy theories that have emerged. The Cecil Hotel has also been featured in numerous podcasts and YouTube channels with creators drawn to its eerie past and the unsolved mysteries it holds. From its association with infamous serial killers to the numerous suicides and unexplained deaths, the Cecil Hotel continues to captivate audiences worldwide. In conclusion, the Cecil Hotel's notorious reputation and dark past have cemented its place in today's media. Whether it's through documentaries, TV shows, or online content, the stories and mysteries of the Cecil Hotel continue to intrigue and captivate audiences, ensuring its enduring presence in the media landscape. Finally, to wrap it up, the Lisa Lam case at the Cecil Hotel is still a mystery that keeps people fascinated. Even though the official cause of death was accidental drowning, the weird circumstances around her disappearance and death have led to loads of conspiracy theories. This case shows just how much we're drawn to unsolved mysteries and how they can captivate us. As we dig deeper into the Lisa Lam case, we're left with more questions than answers, adding to the mystique of the infamous Cecil Hotel. Furthermore, the Cecil Hotel's past is a scary mix of crime and tragedy. Its walls are filled with stories of death and despair, making it a pretty grim landmark in LA. The hotel's notorious reputation keeps people fascinated, reminding us all of the city's darker history. Now, let's take a look at the Elisa Lam case in a different shed of light. The day of her trip, Lam made a phone call to her parents, unaware that it would be the last time they would hear from her. It was now February 2013, and several days had passed without any contact from Elisa. What made the situation even stranger was that she was supposed to have left Los Angeles and arrived in Santa Cruz by now, but she had not checked out of her room at the Cecil Hotel. Concerned, the police were notified and an official investigation began. Upon searching her room, the police found most of Lam's belongings and no signs of a struggle. They thoroughly searched the hotel rooms they had access to, as well as the surrounding area and the roof, but found no trace of her. Elisa Lam had disappeared. During their initial investigation, the police discovered an unusual detail. When Elisa booked her room at the Cecil Hotel, she had actually booked a shared room to save money. However, her roommates became alarmed by her strange behavior and requested that she be moved to her own room. The hotel complied with their request. Although this detail seemed insignificant at the time, it would later prove to be important in the case. With no leads and the hotel thoroughly searched, nearly 2 weeks passed without any progress in the investigation. Her parents grew increasingly worried that she may never be found. However, a major breakthrough was about to occur. On February 14th, the Laptey released surveillance footage of Elisa inside an elevator at the Hotel Cecil. In the video, she enters the elevator and presses all the buttons to every floor, then retreats to the corner and waits. Initially calm, Elisa soon appears frightened and as if she is hiding from something. When she exits the elevator, she appears disheveled and visibly anxious. She attempts to press all the buttons again, and the strange behavior continues. The elevator door opens and closes randomly, but Elisa is not seen on any other camera footage after this point. That's eerie and perplexing footage provided a significant lead for investigators, indicating that Elisa was not mentally well at the time of her disappearance. However, it was astonishing that this was the only camera that captured her that night, considering the size of the hotel. Despite this breakthrough, the police still had no idea where Elisa had gone. She could still be in the hotel or could have traveled far away. As the investigation slowed down, life at the Cecil Hotel carried on as usual. Guests at the hotel began to voice their complaints about an ongoing and worsening issue. The water pressure in their showers was extremely low, and some guests even experienced discolored or black water. Those who drank the tap water or used it to brush their teeth noticed a strange taste. It became evident that the hotel was facing a problem with their water tanks, so a repairman named Santiago Lopez was sent to address the issue. He expected it to be a simple fix. However, when he reached the roof and opened one of the water tanks, he was horrified by what he discovered. Elisa Lam's lifeless and decomposing body was floating inside the giant tank. For the past 19 days, hotel residents had been showering and consuming water that had been contaminated by Elisa's body. This explained the poor taste and discoloration. The shocking discovery raised questions about how Elisa ended up in the water tank. Due to the advanced state of decomposition, a complete autopsy could not be performed. Nevertheless, investigators concluded that Elisa had entered the tank by herself and accidentally drowned. This ruling officially closed the case, but many unanswered questions remained. What was happening in the elevator footage of Elisa, and how did she end up on the hotel's roof and inside the water tank? The possibility of Elisa being murdered is intriguing, especially considering her behavior in the surveillance footage, where she appeared to be hiding from someone and trying to escape. One theory suggests that someone inside the hotel was targeting Elisa and hunting her down. In this scenario, it would make sense if the perpetrator was an employee of the hotel. This could explain why there was no other security footage capturing her presence prior to her death. Considering the location, it is likely that the hotel would have extensive camera coverage, but the employee may have erased the tapes or known how to avoid being captured on camera. Furthermore, this theory could explain how Elisa gained access to the roof and entered the large water tank. Another piece of evidence supporting this theory emerged during the investigation. Police dogs were brought in to search for Elisa before her body was discovered. Despite searching the entire hotel and most of the roof, the dogs did not pick up any scent. This could indicate that someone deliberately covered their tracks, which would not have raised suspicion if they were an employee. Another aspect frequently mentioned in discussions of the murder theory is the peculiar behavior of the elevator. Throughout the footage, Elisa repeatedly presses all the buttons inside the elevator. Strangely, the door remains open for 3 minutes without closing, which is highly unusual. Additionally, at one point, the door starts to close but immediately opens again, even though Elisa was not in the doorway to trigger the sensor. This odd behavior raises questions and could suggest that a hotel employee manipulated the elevator, possibly toying with Elisa before eventually killing her. If true, it would indicate a sick game played by the murderer, which is a truly horrifying thought. Upon further examination of the footage and conducting additional research, it becomes apparent that certain parts of the video appear to skip forward, leading some to believe that a full minute of recording was removed. Additionally, it seems that Elisa does speak at certain points in the footage, but her mouth appears unusually pixelated, making it impossible to discern her words. This could be indicative of editing, and it is plausible that an employee of the hotel who had access to the tapes in sufficient time could have made these alterations. However, it is important to note that while the theory of an employee being involved strengthens the case, the murderer does not necessarily have to be an employee. The Cecil Hotel was located in a rather shady part of town, and the day before her death, Elisa made a blog post expressing concern about encountering creepy individuals. She specifically mentioned Italian and Mexican men being persistent if they sensed any interest. This post could suggest that someone was making advances towards her and behaving inappropriately, potentially leading to her murder. The other indication of foul play is the fact that Elisa's phone was never found. It was not in her hotel room, nor was it discovered with her in the water tank. This detail becomes even more perplexing considering that multiple posts were shared on her blog after her death. This could imply that not only was Elisa murdered, but she was also robbed of some of her belongings that she had in her possession at the time. However, it is worth considering the possibility that Elisa scheduled these posts to go live at a specific time before her demise. When it comes to the condition of Elisa's body, there were no signs of physical trauma, which does raise doubts about the previous theory. Now let's delve into the next theory, which is undeniably the creepiest and revolves around the paranormal aspect. The Cecil Hotel has a notorious history, making it one of the darkest hotels known. Surprisingly, it is the same hotel where the Black Dahlia disappeared decades ago. Notorious serial killers Richard Ramirez and Jack Unterweger also resided there at different times. Additionally, a violent murder occurred in 1964, and the hotel's witnessed 15 confirmed suicides since its establishment. Due to this haunting history, many believers in the paranormal argue that the Cecil Hotel is incredibly haunted, but how does this relate to Elisa's death? When the footage of Elisa in the elevator was initially released, some noticed similarities to the Elevator game, a ritualistic game believed to transport players to another dimension. To play, one needs an elevator that goes up at least 10 floors and must follow a complex set of rules. Eventually, a woman enters the elevator and asks where you're going, but you must not look at her or speak to her. The elevator then descends to the first floor, supposedly transporting you to another world where you are the sole presence. While this game is unsettling, even if not believed to be true, the scariest part is that a single mistake during the ritual can lead to dire consequences. Perhaps Elisa had been playing the elevator game and something went terribly wrong due to an error in performing the ritual. This could explain why she appeared to be running and hiding from an unseen entity. It is possible that she was encountering a paranormal being that only she could perceive at the time. The strange behavior of the elevator, closing and quickly reopening as if someone was standing there, could be attributed to the presence of this entity. While this theory may seem far-fetched, it offers a potential explanation for the inexplicable nature of the case. It suggests that Elisa's death may have been a result of a mishap during the elevator game. Now, before I present the final theory and share my personal opinion on what happened, there is one more peculiar detail that I want to mention. It may not have any direct relevance or fit into the overall narrative, but it's an intriguing fact about the case. During the time Elisa Lam perished at the Cecil Hotel, there was a deadly tuberculosis outbreak in the surrounding area. Those displaying symptoms were tested to confirm the presence of tuberculosis, and the test used was named Lam Elisa. It's a bizarre coincidence, and while it likely holds no significance, it adds to the overall strangeness of the case. Now, let's move on to the final theory. Surprisingly, it aligns with the official conclusion reached by authorities, which is a first for this channel. Elisa clearly had a history of mental illness and had been diagnosed with depression. Lisa was prescribed 4 different medications to manage her symptoms. Although a complete autopsy was not conducted, blood tests revealed that she had not been taking her medication correctly at the time of her death. This could have led to hallucinations and unusual behavior, potentially explaining her actions in the elevator and why she was placed in a room without roommates. Based on her toxicology report, it appeared that Lam may have been experiencing a mental breakdown while in the elevator. Oh, despite the eerie nature of the elevator footage, the truth may be that she was simply having a breakdown. The misuse of her medication, combined with her mental disorders, could have caused her to imagine that someone was chasing her or that there was something out there. This could also explain her rapid shift from calm to panic within a 4-minute span, which is characteristic of bipolar disorder. However, there is a significant issue with this theory. How did she end up in the water tank? Accessing the roof would have required going through a locked door with a passcode known only to employees. If she had attempted to force the door open, an alarm would have been triggered, leading to her discovery. Therefore, it seems highly unlikely that she could have reached the roof alone through this door. Additionally, employees used ladders to inspect and work on the water tanks, and it was confirmed that no ladders were propped against them. This means that Elisa did not use a ladder to enter the tank. Furthermore, the hatch on the tank was closed when Santiago Lopez found her body. It is unclear how she could have closed it after falling in. These facts seem to discredit the theory entirely. However, further research uncovered a video showing someone accessing the roof of the Cecil Hotel without triggering any alarms. They achieved this by using the fire escape and climbing a ladder to the roof. This video suggests that Lam could have reached the roof undetected that night. Additionally, it revealed that the hatches on the water tanks were sometimes left open. This means that Lam could have jumped onto the tank and either intentionally or accidentally fallen in. The question of how she closed the hatch behind her remains unanswered, but it is possible that this was an error in the initial report. As for her missing phone, she had actually posted a blog post days before her death mentioning that she had misplaced it. There is no evidence to suggest that she found it afterward, so it is likely that she did not have her phone with her at the time of her death. Personally, I believe that she used the fire escape to access the hotel roof that night. Given her habit of taking rooftop pictures, it would have been within her capabilities. I also think that her misuse of medication contributed to hallucinations, leading her to genuinely believe that someone was chasing her. Once on the roof, she may have climbed onto a taller structure and then jumped onto the water tank, seeking refuge from her imagined threat. Tragically, she ended up drowning inside the tank. It is possible that the employee who discovered her body falsely claimed that the hatch was closed to avoid acknowledging that they were often left open. This would have absolved the hotel of some liability. I suspect that the hotel pushed the narrative that it was nearly impossible for her to access the roof in order to further minimize their liability. However, in reality, anyone could have accessed the roof that day. While there are still unanswered questions and suspicions of a possible murder based on the evidence presented, I am inclined to accept the conclusion that this case may not be as sinister as initially believed. Regardless of what truly happened that night, the case of Elisa Lam continues to haunt our thoughts and captivate our imaginations. And that's going to do it, guys. Thank you for watching the Dr. Creepy podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's a small click for you, but for us, it really means a lot.
Dr. Creepy.